Hey guys, welcome to the Web Planning channel, and today we are checking out Podcast and Chill, the Youth Day special. I'm actually gonna divide this video into four parts because it's 2 hours long. So obviously, with me talking on it and so forth, is gonna make it longer. So it'll probably be, you know, 30 to 45 or 45 to an hour long videos. So this will be part one, which I'll be reacting to the first 30 minutes and then so on and so forth. So yeah, guys, the whole purpose of this video is to just give further context, as in this particular special, McG has invited EFF, ANC, and DA youth leaders to really express whatever they have to express in order to give confidence in their respective parties. And it being, Youth Day and all, it's very important that we hear from the perspective of youth. So yeah, I mean, I like the idea of that, and for me, I just thought I would react and add my 2 cents wherever necessary. And also, this is very important because going into elections next year, there's a lot of decision making that we need to ponder upon so that we can use our vote to have a better country. So without any further ado, let's get into it, guys. Okay. Enda.
Day edition of Podcast and Chill. I thought it'd be dope. So to get all the youth leaders from the biggest that we have in the country. So please, round of applause for Nicholas Nyati, who's the DA youth leader. But you're
Alright.
interim, right? Yeah.
Guys, follow
What
these
does that mean?
these gents so that we can see if they're gonna deliver.
So
Hmm?
I'm party in the interim until we go to our Congress. Oh, when is that, the Congress? After we've finished with all the provincial conferences, we left with Gauteng, Western Cape, and the Northern Cape this weekend. Oh, so you're still interim for a while? Then I'm going to contest and win again. Just go there and remove that interim. All right, nice one. Also, please welcome the EFF Student Command President Sihle Lonzi. Yes. Now I'm confused there. What does it mean when it's a student command? How's it different from a ANC? I mean, a youth league. Look, previously, primarily we exist in institutions of higher learning. But what the student command is starting to do now is to venture out to communities. We have a slogan that student wars are community wars. So you'll find us more active in communities as we lay the foundation for, a future youth movement of the EFF. Oi, so you don't have a youth league equivalent? No, not yet. Not yet.
That's okay.
I wonder why.
It's okay. Later.
No. Look, if you look at Julius, if you look at big youth movements, I mean, we talk about June 16 as a youth activity, yes, but it was actually run by students. Yeah. So the idea that a student must be detached from a community youth leader, for me, I think it falls short of any historical. Rather have a youth league equivalent or youth wing, and then that will also cover the students as well. Because in our country, youth is up to the age of 30 what? And you barely find students at that age, particularly, unless it's guys who are just studying J as a post grad or whatever. Look, if you've got students who are taking part in community activism, it's really semantics. Whether you call it youth, students, young people, for me, it's immaterial. So, those who are engaged in youth struggles, even though we're students. Do you think if there was a EFF Youth League, it would intimidate Malema? No, I don't think there's anything in South Africa that can intimidate Malema.
Especially because
Okay.
EFF, from the looks of things, from observations, correct us if we're wrong, it seems like you guys, a lot of your support base is the youth. So it makes sense for him not to want a youth wing in a way.
Look, interesting enough, of course, EFF is popular amongst young people because it appeals to youth. But Ipsos, in our plenum that we had this year, actually revealed to us that the membership and even the voter population of the EFF is now starting to move towards the more middle class working people. Okay. So that's like a scientific
Under the age of 35.
yeah. So it's not
Yeah, let me pause it there for a minute. I think these guys are being unfair to the EFF. Guys, if you look at it, DA and ANC have been existing for quite some time. So for them to establish a youth party or a youth sort of segment is naturally what they should have done. I mean, if you were to observe them exactly when they started, they probably didn't start a youth division as early as, if we were to look the existence of the EFF. I mean, EFF is the youngest political party that has an actual say in politics, and you know, they're full of young people. So the whole party is a youth division. Yes, granted, there's those that are older than 35 and so forth, according to the youth definition of South Africa. But yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, guys, let's not be fair. I mean, let's not be unfair with this assessment. I mean, they don't have to have a youth division, but they have youth that is active, and there is an actual recognition of youth leadership. So yeah.
I mean, it's there, it's online, and you can fact check it with the guys in the room. Yeah. So it's not, yes, we are very popular amongst the youth, but we also have black professionals who are leading in the EFF. And
Which is more important.
And then we saved the best for the last, the man of the moment.
Oh boy. Wow, Mr. Load Shedding. Okay.
Hulekani Skosana, who's the National Working Class team member of the ANC Youth League. Am I correct?
It doesn't exist, man. I mean, the task team. How the great have fallen.
It's different because I was not elected. I was appointed by the National Executive Committee of the ANC. So we are going to Congress on the 30th of June, and we have not been elected because our former president, who now formed the EFF, really did a number on the ANC Youth League, left the Youth
Seriously.
League with debt of
How ANC is that? Like, how ANC is that?
So we've had to pay back loans and
You took
hotels.
Did you take over after Julius?
Not really, but since he left the Youth League in tatters, myself and
But was the president after him?
Yeah.
Say he
cause
substantiate is baseless.
no, it is based. I mean,
Chief.
the Youth League was put under administration. Our accounts were
Like
frozen
already blame
until,
shifting
could be able to pay
immediately.
back, monies that
ANC has
from
nothing to
hotels
offer you guys.
which he used to book without pay in the name of the ANC.
But the Youth League in the ANC operates within a bigger structure that's the ANC, so you were surely enabled by his superiors to get the Youth League into so much debt. He wasn't acting unilaterally with all the power unto him.
The Youth League is semi-autonomous, so the Youth League has its own bank accounts and has an executive committee which takes its own decisions. So the Youth League is capable of raising funds and using its own money for its own activities. Also, some of the support gets from the ANC, but the ANC doesn't tell us what to do or what not to do with our funds.
So do you still have members of that executive? Because it sounds like it was a number, not just by Julius that was done on you, but by the entire executive. Are they still there and are they being held accountable?
Would like to see that happen.
Leave the Youth League. The ANC cannot pay staff members.
Yeah.
Like the ANC is bankrupt. So I don't see how then you make it a Youth League problem when even the guys at the top every month it's like we have to postpone.
No, but he did say it's semi autonomous.
Yeah, but you can't blame it. You can't blame it to the ANC youth
No,
because
I can only imagine what he's doing with their membership fees.
Deflect,
because
deny,
we've experienced
deflect,
that,
deny, deflect.
he's
paying all the staff members for starters.
money.
Who we talking about? Comrade is asking what is the president of the EFF doing with the EFF membership.
Yeah.
For starters, he pays all the staff members on time, pays for the building that the EFF currently resides in, which is the headquarters, and many other things that the EFF is. But it doesn't release the financial report.
And he's always asking people for
Hey guys, I'm gonna skip ahead because yeah, they just bickering amongst themselves. So yeah, no.
I just throw it up saying this.
I mean, this is typical of South African politics. We fight on ideologies rather than actual, scientific things that which those results would actually breed who are the winners and losers. I mean, we're living in a situation whereby the ANC has been in charge for the past 30 years and they failed. It's as simple as that. But because people know how to, talk smooth and, slick talk their way through the masses and, voters not being, more aware or having a better idea of how to vote and how their vote is important. We've many people have fallen for these type of shenanigans, and yeah, it's kind of disappointing that this conversation has begun with a whole lot of that. So I hope it's to clear the system and things will get better and to really actually start talking about important things, because yeah, no, I don't want to hear about each party's weaknesses based on the other party. I want to hear what that party is doing to change our lives, right? I mean, yeah, it's kind of annoying.
Child should be proud of going to Harvard.
Yeah, you see,
chase you out.
they keep talking.
That the reason it exists is so that it normalizes minority as a block. And unfortunately, because of numbers in our population, they need people like him to see.
Yeah,
He's
I
up
see.
there to
Allow black people to lead. White people must be scared because I don't know, they'll either be chased away or so it represents white interest. We see it in many of their policy statements. They don't want affirmative action, anti-BE,
Uh-huh.
even though white people benefited from a welfare apartheid state.
Okay.
If you look at the history of apartheid, there's what was called the Coniji report. And what the
Coniji. All right. Okay, let's hear what he has to say.
Commission did was to assemble a group of sociologists, scientists, lawyers, psychologists to go around the whole of South Africa to solve the problem of poor whites. Like
Poor
the
whites.
state took a decision.
Whoa.
There's a problem of poor whites in South Africa.
Yeah, you see, guys. Yeah, you see, of course, we allowed to have our opinions about topics and so forth, but I think there's some misleading happening here. So, if you're not aware, during apartheid, South Africa was sanctioned in the same way today that countries like Zimbabwe have been sanctioned by Europe and the US in terms of, when you're sanctioned, you're basically blocked off from economically developing your country by using, the country's resources to sell them into, whoever in the world in order for you to advance your own interests. So South Africa was in that type of a situation back in the day, and it was very important for them to find an economic solution. And that economic solution was for South Africans, yes, within the umbrella of apartheid. So apartheid was what it was, heinous and bad and everything, but South Africa was suffering economically. And Paul Kruger, the president, then devised a plan. So I'm from the VAR, so I have some idea of this idea, of this situation, simply because Hendrik van der Bijl was an engineer, a top engineer that was sent to the US based on this plan. Now, my issue right now is he's mentioning a report that I'm not sure about, right? I'm not too sure what he's talking about. Let's look at what he said. I mean, uh, Coniji. Yeah, let's see if we can find something. I tried researching it before. Yeah, you see, that's the problem. Like, people can just shout things and we wouldn't know, right? I'm not saying what he's saying is totally off or false or anything like that. I'm just saying it's very difficult to fact check because he can say whatever that he thinks he can say. And okay, we don't need that one now. So yeah, guys, I can't find the report, but I'm just explaining basically what happened. And the president did what, as you say, there was an assessment done by all these professionals, and plans came out to establish certain state-owned entities. For example, SASL was one of them. SASL was created and came up with the genius solution of turning, I think it's uh, coal to gas or something like that. Yeah, so, Cecil was one of those companies that were created. Cecil, which is also part of the Val Triangle, is one of those companies. As then there is ISCO. I'm just trying to remember what is Cecil known for, man. I know it's something to do with what they do with oil or coal. Obviously, it's a energy and chemical company, and yeah, you see. Why was Cecil established? You see, Cecil was formed in South Africa in 1950 to make oil from coal. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. For a country with no large crude oil reserves. So you see, we were back in the day effectively solving an issue because everybody had crude oil and so forth, but they were able to do what they are doing, and they needed coal to obviously make, whether it's electricity in terms of ESCOM. ESCOM obviously was a company that was there and everything. So the genius the genius ideas of companies that Cecil, ISCO became global, phenomenons. And for me to simply just say that these were ways and on how white people or the government then was just solving poor white people's problems. Yes. Look, once again, it's how you look at it and how you describe it, right? Yes, if you're EFF, you will describe it that way. But if you're gonna be neutral like I am, I'm just viewing it as a country was solving an issue that it had in terms of economic restrictions, and they decided to work within themselves and come up with a solution, of which the ANC for the past 30 years have made things worse. If they could do what they did then, right? Let's learn from history so that we can know what we have to do in the future, right? Then they would also do something useful that actually helps us in terms of what's happening in our country. So yeah, guys, yeah, I think I don't want to say he's lying. I'm just saying there's a little hint of misleading there, and it was just important to establish that.
Six timelines for this gave them tools. So they gave them land, they gave them. I mean, there's even a joke. So, for example, you'll find Kutwa, a job that can be done by one person will employ 5 white people. So, white people are beneficiaries of
What
the
is
welfare
that?
state.
What
And
is
then the
that?
dean wants to come and tell us that no, we must not have BEU, we must not have affirmative action. We want meritocracy. There's nothing. The leader of the DA, Tenazin, has a matric certificate. What meritocracy is there? This other one, Natasha, lied about having a law degree. The Premier of the Western Cape, if I'm not mistaken, also only has matric.
See, on that one, I can give it to him for sure. There is this perception in South Africa amongst or towards white people that, they know what they are doing and they are allowed to enter certain positions simply based on RPL. So RPL is basically recognized prior learning, and in other words, it's just experience. So obviously, most black people were denied to be economically active based on apartheid. So historically, that has had an impact. So less black people, or black people in general have less experience than white people. So what then happens is these people get white people get good positions based on the access that they've had in terms of economic activity, and therefore they rise to the ranks. Versus a black person, you have to go to school and so forth, and the level of of progress is not equal from the baseline. And they, when I say they, I mean white people, they advance quicker, whereas you, because you're in school, the minute you finish, they're going to say you don't have experience. So the one who's never had qualifications whatsoever, but experience and the opportunity to participate, they are just climbing the corporate ladder. So when you come in, then there's a perception of like you're more educated, but you just don't have the experience. So that is a problem that needs to be dealt with, and that's why we have things like affirmative action, BE. So the problem is, it's not the intention and the principle behind those you know, mitigating solutions. The problem is how those solutions are structured and how they actually implemented, because there's a lot of other problems that come with these solutions. So that's something that needs to be looked at.
So when it's white, they don't want to consider merit. But when it's us, all of a sudden, as if only be because we want the right people for the job.
I think I must clarify a few misconceptions.
Sure.
Mhm.
This is why politicians are termed as liars. They can lie with a straight face.
Okay.
Number one, if you check South African history, where the DA stood again in terms of apartheid, Helen Suzman was the first politician in South Africa to visit prisoners in Robben Island. The DA in parliament stood against apartheid and said black people, in fact,
DA
all
in
South Africans must have the
parliament.
right to vote. That is why the ANC was formed in the first place, by the way. So the right to vote because people wanted land. The DA was there fighting against an apartheid government.
But
Huh?
no DA in apartheid.
Come on, the party's renamed though.
Yeah, but my man,
The National Party.
The DA was not the National Party. They know this. We came post 1994. Post 1994,
After the ANC won freedom in the country for you,
after South Africans, including the DA,
which
fought
came after
against-
1994.
No, the DA only renamed. Come on, my man.
From national
Okay. You see, this is why my reactions are important, guys. Let's understand what's going on here. So DA formation date. Haha, look at that. Okay. So the DA, the Democratic Alliance, was formed on the 24th June 2000. So clearly not during apartheid. Let's go to the DA history. Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's why he mentions Helen Suzman. Okay, 1959. What was going on? So in 1959, we had the Progressive Party. That was what was formed, led by Helen Suzman. 1961, opposes apartheid in parliament. So that's their activism. Where am I zooming? And then 1977, it changed from PP to PFP, which is the Progressive Federal Party, official opposition to the apartheid government. Okay, and then 1989, PFP keeps fighting against apartheid and becomes the Democratic Party. So it was the DP in 1989. And then 1989, DP plays a vital role in negotiating an interim constitution. Okay, so that's their contribution in terms of, government. What's this? The Emancipation of South Africa, 1994, and all those efforts and so forth. So indeed, I mean, it was not a ANC only effort. I mean, there were other parties, your NFP, your ACDP. There was just so many IFP, and there was a whole lot of things going on. It's just ANC is the front runners, right? Okay, then 1999, DP becomes the official position guarding South Africa's first democratic constitution, and then in 2000, Democratic Alliance is formed to ensure freedom, fairness, opportunity, and diversity for all. Okay, I guess that settles it in terms of what's going on here. But yeah, we needed that, right?
Nothing called DR.
No,
He's correct.
Take the
But then he
interest of
twists it by this
civic
combination of white
engagement.
people.
They
But
want to means the DA praise. Their only role within the black movement, I think Steve Biko talks about this when he speaks about white liberals. He says they wanted to enter our spaces to come and, make us more softer, make us less radical, wanting to make us to theorize about our things. So he says his problem with white liberals is that they don't necessarily have a problem with the system.
Yeah.
They just want to fix things in the periphery.
Okay.
That is the role of white liberals in black struggle.
Okay.
If they are so dedicated to fighting racism, they must go and organize themselves and stop racism. They don't have to come into our
Everybody's
spaces
gonna
and
fight.
tell us how we must fight against racism.
Okay.
What is that?
Okay. Let me.
They must start in the Western Cape first.
They must go have a
Benji.
group chat and stop racism.
Benji, racism is bad.
Aye.
And it is not a fight for the DA, it is a fight for all of us.
Racism
As
is
South
bad
Africans.
as you've experienced it.
Then
The DA is a
second-
member of the DA.
Secondly,
This
the
ANC
DA
guy's
was
useless,
led
guys.
as the PFP. In
It's just here for pranks and
2004,
jokes.
in 2002, in fact, the new National Party, I mean, you guys discussed this thing with John. I don't understand why I must explain it again. The new National Party merged with the PFP. After just 2 months, they fought because the ideologies were not the same. The new National Party left and joined the ANC. They're still there. Some of them are ambassadors. He
PFP,
knows this, but no one speaks
happened
about them.
earlier.
The DA fought against apartheid government because they strongly believed that it was a crime against humanity. Now let's speak about this so-called white party. Look at how the DA took over Cape Town. White people are not a majority in Cape Town. It was colored people, it was black people who voted for the DA in Cape Town. In Western Cape, it was black people, it was colored people who voted against the ANC and voted for a DA government. The ANC was governing Cape Town, was governing Western Cape, but people there, black people like me and you, said, no, these guys are failing us. We want a new government. Let's look at the stats, as you like to say, let's be scientific. 33% of DA voters are black, 34% are colored. There's only, I think it's 30, my math is incorrect. The rest is white and Indian. Majority of DA voters are black, like me. Now let's speak about Helen. Is Helen racist? I haven't experienced her racism. What I know about Helen McGee is that if she thinks you are skinny, she will not go and gossip behind your back. She's going to tell you.
So do you agree with her when she says colonialism had benefits because they built roads for us and did all of these things?
It's the same thing.
No, do you agree with that?
It's the same thing. I don't understand this nonsense.
So was colonialism good?
No, I want to correct something. There's a double standard in South Africa. Julius Malema stood up and said, at least the apartheid government built clinics for our people. There was no outrage. Helen Zille, in relation to Japan, said colonialism was not bad. It was an outrage in South Africa. Why do we have double standards? So Julius Malema can say it. People like Zille, yeah, don't come to him and say, Chief, you can't say that thing. But when someone like Helen says it, she is wrong. Then what type of a country are we building where Umek G can say certain things, but Nicholas can say such things? So let's be honest.
Fair enough.
My views about colonialism as a crime against humanity. It happened across the world. But there are many countries that took that oppression, that took the colonialism after they took their democracy and changed it around. Japan did it. Singapore did it.
I see what he's saying, guys. I hope you do.
Rwanda is doing it. South Africa, after colonialism, is like Zimbabwe.
We're going backwards.
43 years after independence in Zimbabwe, they're in that mess. And we are chasing them. Like Sishe and Kulekan.
This gentleman wants to come tell us that the Democratic Alliance is an organization of freedom fighters. It fought for democracy in our country.
Let's go to the ANC. What
ANC
is
is useless.
Yes, we get a sit in all decision-making meetings of the African National Congress.
Okay, I think I'm gonna cut it there, guys, because they're gonna start talking about load shedding and stuff. So I think that'll be a good part 2. And yeah, that's just about 30-minute mark. So yeah, guys, just to give my insights on the first 30 minutes that we've watched. Yeah, I guess it's the introductions, the part the guys have to bash one another, and it's kind of not, it's what we're used to seeing, and unfortunately it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't help us to progress. And fortunately, it's 15 minutes into it and so far, it started, being about ideologies that we're actually learning something about each party and seeing where they are. but I still desire more, so we'll watch the rest in part 2. But yeah, I appreciate that we got to see the history of the DA to understand exactly what's going on with this NFP, PFP, whatever. So now we understand that yes, the DA was formed in 2000, and it was, in terms of its history, it goes all the way back to what was the PP, which is the Progressive Party, 1959s with Helen Suzman and so forth, and they were, fighting apartheid then. In deep in apartheid, they were fighting it. So progressed along, changed from PP to PFP, from PFP to DP, and then eventually the DA. So yeah, that's that. So that was good to know, to find out. And yeah, I think also we need to understand the ideas on how we can have opposing ideas, and how we need to understand that, we don't have to mislead, we don't have to use rhetoric to convince people. And I think that's the challenge on the EFF side of things. But it's an understandable, point of view how you want to do things, because if you are being radical, you have to be radical in kind, right? And for me, EFF still needs to be given an opportunity to really show what they got, so it's understandable that things are not so clear. But it is what it is. But with the ANC, I think it's quite obvious that this guy here is just here to deflect. He's not here to give anything that's new, because there's nothing they can do. I mean, it's just so dire. I mean, honestly speaking, the youth league does not exist. This is a tough team, and I think someone from the youth league might be even arguing why is he there, because he's probably, I don't know. I'm just trying to show that ANC is a mess, and the youth division is a mess as well. So he's just here not saying anything. And it's so disappointing. He's just trying to fight the other guys, and there's nothing original that's coming out of his mouth. So, but yeah, I paused it where he's being asked what they are doing or how they're participating. So let's check that out in part 2. Thanks for watching, guys. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share this video, and also give me recommendations, what you want me to react to, because I feel like this is a nice way of creating additional content besides what we usually used to uploading. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.